Dukes Nation, this is your home for all things Duquesne University athletics, whether it's basketball or football or soccer or lacrosse or volleyball, track and field, golf, swimming, you name it, everything in between. If it's happening at UPMC Cooper Fieldhouse, Arthur J. Rooney Athletic Field, or anywhere our Dukes play, you're going to hear about it here. Hello and welcome, Dukes fans. You are looking at co-producer Rudy Longarini inside the worldwide headquarters and studios of All Dukes Sports Talk. I'm Bob Healy III, joined as always by Nick Frost, and we are uniting Dukes Nation for a conversation on all things Duquesne University athletics. So without further ado, let's get to it, and let's go Dukes! Shoo shoo, rah rah, it's a good day to be a Duke. Heck, it was a good weekend to be a Duke. So us in Duquesne athletics land got to celebrate some past championship teams and take a look at a team today, anyway, recording Sunday, February 1st, at the UPMC Cooper Fieldhouse that's starting to round into form and making us think, hey, it's going to be conference championship time again soon, and maybe this team is on the up. So men's basketball today, winners at the UPMC Cooper Fieldhouse by a score of 76-61. Could have been bigger. Rhode Island made a meaningless bucket at the end. One of the better defensive efforts I've seen out of the Dukes all season. I'm Bob Healy III. I am one of the co-hosts of All Dukes Sports Talk. Of course, I'm joined as always in Pittsburgh by Nick Frost and our man out in California, Rudy Longarini. Another Pittsburgh location host for this will be our special guest rejoining us on the All Dukes Sports Talk podcast for the second time. He, like myself, recently became a Duquesne Athletics Hall of Famer this weekend, which was just so fun. Mr. Dave Sheets. Coach Sheets, thanks for coming back on the show.
No, I appreciate you guys having me. I always enjoy coming and talking with you guys.
Coach, I have taken this off for about 10 minutes, and that's about it. I've had it on all weekend otherwise. It's the coolest thing. Now, did you get to have two of these? Because you were on the stage. We were there together over the weekend, Friday night, at the Power Center Ballroom, and everybody on your teams who were the conference championships that you had back-to-back in the late 2010s, they were there, and everybody got one of these. So do you get two? Is that how that works?
They asked me if I wanted two, and I said, you know what, I'll just take one.
I would have took two, man. I would have absolutely took two. We have guys, John Rosado, and some of us know John. This was his third time in the Hall of Fame because he was on the staff of another football team, like he was my 03 team that went in. And he went in as an individual a while ago. So he's got three of these things, and he's not giving any back. But yeah, I know, Coach. So two individual swimmers went into the Hall of Fame who also were on those teams. If I'm not mistaken, the two ladies who joined the Hall of Fame as individuals, they were on those teams as well, right? So they basically are you had 2 3-time Hall of Famers you got to honor over the weekend.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, Abby Stauffer and Emma Brinton, both fantastic swimmers. So yeah, they were both on those 2017-18 and 18-19 teams. Huge contributors to our championships. So it was great for them to be able to get recognized as well.
So at the ceremony Friday night, Donald Ziegler, who was a baseball player in the 50s and a long accomplished and recognized judge as well. You can see here's Donald Ziegler and his photo that's on the GoDuquesne.com website. Judd Ziegler joined as a baseball player. The builders, Joe and Kathy Guyot, if I'm saying it correct, I don't never met these folks, and I think that's how you pronounce this. I apologize to that family if I'm mispronouncing it, because we obviously appreciate as Duquesne fans what they've meant to the university and the athletics department. But Joe and Kathy joined as builders. And then, as I mentioned, the 03 football team, as well as the 17-18 and 18-19 swimming and diving teams, joined as Hall of Famers. That was a real thrill. I've been a Duquesne athletics fan since high school when I listened to Ray Goss on the radio and was like kind of hooked. And then I ended up going to school there, of course, and being a Lakers fan, knowing Norm Nixon was there, and then LeBron and his connection with Drew, and just falling in love with the basketball team again recently, and seeing those guys go in the Hall of Fame right away, Day-Day Jimmy and that squad with Coach Dan Burt. So to be on the wall now at UPMC Cooper Fieldhouse is so cool, even though I'm just there as a member of the team, to get one of these medals and to be able to see a lot of old teammates was so cool. But before we get to that, we're going to put a pin in that and come back to it. I want to turn our attention again to today's outstanding performance by the Duquesne men. And like I said, the victory over Rhode Island was kind of a no-doubter. The Dukes trailed on an opening three-pointer, and then once they took the lead, they never trailed again. 76-61, the final. One stat that jumped out to me, guys, when I was clicking through the box score, although I watched some of the game in between my hoop tees that old teammates were giving me, um, was the bench points, right? So 6 for Rhode Island and 26 for the Dukes, and a lot of that's owed to Jake DeMichael looked great coming off the bench, making a pair of threes, and he did his thing on defense. I thought he's kind of looking like he's maybe finding his role, and then of course Alex Williams puts up 12, which is just kind of what he's been doing. It's interesting we didn't see Max Edwards take the floor, guys, although he was in uniform. A friend of mine got a picture and his kids, Max stopped and got a photo, which was nice of him. And then John Hughley only put up 4 in 19 minutes, but, a lot of people contributing. And Jimmy Williams, guys, to me has turned into just obviously been the best player. I mean, for early part of the year, Terrence Ginyard, John Hughley, they were kind of, putting up the big numbers, but Jimmy Williams has been outstanding. Really fun to watch. I love seeing him 6 of 6 from the charity stripe too. 9 boards to go with 22 points, and 4 assists, right? Like he's been putting up, like filling the stat sheet most nights. I know you've talked about this, Nick, a little bit. They kind of become he and Ginyard like a Day-Day and Jimmy Clark light. We're not going to put him in that breath, but it's this 1-2 punch. Give me your thoughts on this performance today, Nick. And I guess we haven't been on the air in 2 weeks, so kind of where you see the team at.
Yeah, I think today's game was extremely encouraging for the two aspects that we've been harping on all year, which is the defense hadn't been playing up to snuff, and free throw shooting has still been an issue, which has been an issue for years. Today, the defense couldn't have looked much better, and they shot 20 for 22 from the free throw line.
Oh,
Can't ask for much
awesome.
more than that from a
Awesome.
technically sound game. And then on defense, I mean, they held them to 27 in the first half. So the first half was even better than the second half. And TG led the way as Coach Drew put in his post-game presser. The point guard set the tone defensively, and the rest of the team followed suit. And that was what we've been looking for and begging for 2 years now, is that defense to show up. And I mean, if we can stop the other team from scoring, the offense is good enough to get enough points any given night. The real key to any win or loss for us is whether we're able to set in and stop the other team. We failed to do that against the Bonnies, and time the timely defense was huge too. I mean, they held more. It wasn't just fluke turnovers. It was truly working the defense all the way down to the shot clock many times in this one. Just great effort all around.
Yeah, and great to do it on the USA Network, right? That doesn't hurt. It's a nice statement to the league. Yeah, you mentioned the UPMC, excuse me, the St. Bonaventure loss during the UPMC readout. That was 87-79. The Dukes blew a pretty big lead, and it was nice in this one to see that when Rhode Island started to chip away, we bounced. We came back and shut them back down, especially DeMichael hitting some big shots to do so. But also the Dukes with only give up 10 offensive rebounds to Rhode Island. That obviously helps. To me, Dixon, although he doesn't, he gets 1 block today, he's still a big force in the paint. He ended up fouling out in 12 minutes, which you don't like. We still do take a number of fouls, but Rhode Island took more than we did, which hasn't happened a lot this year. Like the other team had more fouls than us. So it's nice to see it turning. The Bonaventure loss sucked, but the Dukes are right in the hunt, especially after beating Loyola Chicago on the 24th, 71-59. That was a road win. We'll take it. Dukes pulled away late in that one after a little scare from Loyola, which is a bit of a bottom feeder in the A10 this year. And then I know a lot of us, Rudy, we didn't have a show because there's a big storm over here and we're kind of dealing with stuff. So we delayed this a couple weeks. But Rudy, I know you loved the performance at home against St. Louis, 24th in the country at the time. St. Louis still only has 1 loss all season, and we took the Billikens to the wire on January 20th. So, hey, look, Dukes have won 2 of their last 4, but almost beat nationally ranked St. Louis and finally got a nice home win right over an A10 opponent too. So, your thoughts, Rudy?
Well, a lot of stuff there. So let me go back to the Rhode Island game. And my thoughts, despite Dixon getting in foul trouble and fouling out, Hughley kind of stabilized the position in there. I mean, he wasn't fantastic. He only scored 4 points, but he came down with more rebounds than Dixon did on this. And of course, Jimmy, crashing the boards, getting 9 boards, most of them defensive rebounds, so they were key. And then also, dude, I every time I go on the message board for Duquesne University, I get harped on by the participants there, the people that comments and make comments and so on and so forth, that we don't make enough of Ginyard. Okay, like we. Over the last couple of weeks, we've been going over and over in our heads that, we don't have Day and we don't have Clark to fall back on and those dependable guys. And that's why, we're not as good as we are. We don't have that one dependable guy. I mean, what? Ginyard is that dependable guy.
He's been dependable all year. Yeah.
He's been dependable all year. The last game, he had 9 assists or 7 assists. I mean, he fills it up every time. And if he's not the high scorer, Williams is. Okay, so I think we gotta start giving some flowers to Ginyard, man. I mean, he has been the one constant. As you stated at the very beginning, if he's not doing it with assists, he's doing it with his points. So, I mean, I gotta like Jimmy, and unfortunately, it still is that if they shut him down, we're probably going to lose. Okay, if he gets anything less than 15 points a game or so, and is in foul trouble, we are in serious problems. Okay, so that's what I got to say there, and then
by the way, Rudy, I wanted to say when you were looking for the assist number, it was against Bonaventure when Ginyard had 12 points and 12 assists,
right?
And that was to only 2 turnovers. 12-2 is a great ratio.
I mean, I don't know if you'd have to probably go back to the record books to see if there's been a Duke that's ever had 12 assists in one game. I mean, I don't know.
Probably my man Storm and Norman, but I got to look into that.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what I want to say. And then also, I made a big point over the last couple games, particularly where I said that we turned it around in Reno against Nevada, and that I was privy to it and saw it in person, that we were able to play defense and get back into the game. And basically that's, Nick is going over a very good point. We got to stop people. I mean, we got to make some stops. I mean, we're not, we're not going to be, outscored more than likely by any AT team. But, what we got to do is we got to balance it out with defense. And that's what we did in this Rhode Island game. And then Alex, like I said, he wasn't the last 3 or 4 games. He's kind of been like a little bit in the rut, but then he came out of it today. And so yeah, Alex came through too with 12 points. And he's big. He's big on our defense. Okay. He kind of has and then I noticed when Dixon went out, they slided Nexus into the center position. And he was, during those crucial minutes, the second half of the game, of the latter part when Dixon fouled out, he was crucial. He got 3 or 4 rebounds immediately. Was in the middle of the action, getting fouled constantly. So major shout out to Nexus too. And that's all I got to say, dude.
Well, Coach Sheets, I want to go to you too. I just want to point out real quick that was so the most assists in a game in history, according to the basketball record book on GoDuquesne.com. Thanks to the SID
Right.
guys for that is 12. So it's according coming into this season, Brian McAllister last to do it. 2006 had 12. Martin Asamani had 12 back in 04. Clayton Adams in 87 and Brian Shanahan in 86. So I can tell you it's at least a
A
kind of a
tie.
modern era almost record. It's in 20 years. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Nick. You were going to say something?
Well, I was going to say that Coach Drew must have been listening to you because I think he shortened that rotation up.
He has, yeah. We're down
Phenomenally.
to 9 today, and really the only big minutes are coming from like 7 of those guys. I like it. Look at so just to quickly go to this today. Look at this the minutes played. So in the Bonaventure game, we only had 9 guys in there today against Rhode Island. Let me just bring this back up again.
We
I
had a pretty
think it
deep
was
bench.
9
I
as
mean,
well, right? But
yeah,
look at
we
these
got
minutes,
DeMichael Williams, Hughley,
right?
and Cam off the bench. So 9.
Yeah,
But
I'll take it. I like it at 8, 9-ish. And like if you're going to get 10 minutes here and there to somebody else, like you need to do those things. I get it. Coach Sheets, before we get back to swimming, because there's a conference championship meet coming up for you guys soon too. I want to get your thoughts on what you saw out of basketball today and this season.
Well, I was extremely frustrated from the St. Bonaventure game, watching the game and watching us blow the lead that we had. And but watching the game today, I got a little nervous near the end when, they got
Yeah.
within, I think, 5.
right.
And I told my buddy that I was there with, I said, we're doing a pretty good job here of trying to lose this game. And then the one thing I saw that I didn't see in Bonaventure is they were able to close it out. And that was awesome to see. And that was exciting. So, hopefully they've kind of turned the corner and they've gotten to the point now where they're getting a little more confidence in themselves and that they say, hey, we can close games out. And that was the biggest highlight for me watching that game today is just being able to close them out when they got close.
And how often have you been able to get down to watch games? Do you ever take recruits to things like that?
Usually when we have recruits on campus, they're gone when the games start on the weekends, and usually we have them come in on Thursday. So we're usually not playing on Thursday nights. A lot of times they're usually away games when they're playing. So when my son was here, we would go to all the games. He loved going to watch Duquesne play basketball, and he loved Keith Dambrot. He loved sitting in on Keith's press conferences. But now that I've got my daughters, they don't want to. They've got other things going on, so they don't want to come down as much. So I just watch a lot of them now on ESPN Plus at home.
Yeah, right on. And so did you by chance watch the St. Louis game where they almost pulled that off?
I did, and that was a game where obviously we were behind a little bit, and we got close, and then we just couldn't get over that hump to take the lead. So seeing this game today was I think promising as we move forward.
Well, the Dukes will next play the men at George Mason coming up on Wednesday the 4th. Again, we're recording this on Sunday, February 1st, the end of Hall of Fame weekend on the Bluff. It's a 7 p.m. tip-off on ESPN Plus. Dukes return home February 7th. That's a UPMC replica jerseys night, which is kind of cool, or day. It's a 2 p.m. tip-off February 7th. That game's going to be on ESPN Plus, and then in Pittsburgh, in this market, Sportsnet Pittsburgh. And then we'll try to get you guys another show because then it kind of gets interesting. We get to the end of February. There's one more game at the start of March, and then it's tournament time. And lest we forget, the Dukes are hosting. So the only thing missing from the magical 24 season that you can see all commemorated behind me is that it happened on the road. It'll be really cool to get some support. I am still definitely disappointed in the turnout of the students. I don't.
yeah.
Nothing else happening. I'd love to say they were all at mass, right? And I just don't know if that's why they missed tip-off.
Wishful
Dave,
thinking.
Dave, I mean, it's got to be hard. I mean, we all want support at these meets, and games and matches. I mean, you guys, I'm sure, would love to have a raucous student section as well. But I still find it hard to believe. And this is just maybe I'm just a sports fan and I'm biased, but I used to go to the Palumbo Center, watch teams with like 8 wins at the most, watch Brian McAllister win the scoring title on like a 3-win team and just dream for this sort of stuff. And there are the diehards. I mean, I will say I love the pep band's always in it. They're contributing. Today they got an early shot clock hustle out of Rhode Island, which was cool. And I don't know what they were thinking. They started counting down. The guy bit it right away. So I mean, kudos to those guys. And I know marketing's busting their ass to get this stuff. I mean, I don't quite know yet how to crack that. I wish I had the answer.
I was
I don't
going to
know.
say, Bob, today, I can't believe it. they would have had a shot at $10,000, and that still didn't draw people in. I don't know what is going to do it. I mean, at least that draw should have filled up the student section. I mean,
Right.
when I was a student, it wasn't it's they were able to fill it up for those giveaways, and then it emptied out after like halftime or the third quarter, whenever that promo happened. But I was stunned that the rest of the stadium was great. There wasn't many tickets available, and then you look at the student section, it's bare. Uh, the alumni student section over behind the other hoop actually also contributed to a shot clock call. They started the count at 10-9 with 1 second left, and the guy didn't get it off
Yep.
in time.
Yep.
So, uh,
It was
yeah,
a cool atmosphere today because there were a lot of alums there. You know, Dave had his crew there. I had my team there, and it really helped. Like it was fun, and everyone I know who got back to campus for the first time in a while, maybe Dave can speak to that too. Is some people haven't been back to even see the new place till now, and they loved it. And they're like, "This is awesome," you know. I'm like, "Yeah, well, you know, your tuition dollars over the years helped build it, basically, you know, like, especially the swimmers who came through Dave's program recently." I just don't see why you wouldn't come and get something to do on an afternoon. You know, I mean, maybe
Dude,
it's 12's too early and they're still hungover from South Side or what, but come on. What about Rudy? It's brutal. You guys
man,
have
don't
you
get
had to
me
go to Melanie, you
started.
had to go to Civic Arena to see games, and you probably got, you know?
Yeah, we used to trudge all the way in middle of winter with the wind blowing. I mean, off an academic walk where people would be with sheets of ice and people would, be on the top of the hill academic walk and be thrown off on their heels. I mean, dude, I don't know.
Doesn't make sense to
You
me.
know,
Dave, you have the solution to this?
I,
the only thing, the only
Go
thing
ahead.
that I could say, the only thing that I could say is that we are paying, we are paying the dues or whatever of what's happened the last 47 years.
That's fair. I mean, it's fair.
I
It's not like
mean,
there wasn't a
it's
culture.
it
Yeah.
is it wasn't, and so, dude, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. I'm not happy, but I'm not surprised. These students had nothing to cheer for in the last 47 years. And then all of a sudden, you go to the NCAA tournament, and then you create a little bit of a fanfare, and the people that came on there, and you know I don't know. It's just that that's all I got to say. I mean, it's just dude. I'm not surprised because the last 47 years, the last 50 years has been dog poop. Okay, so I'm not
Takes a
surprised.
while. Maybe it just takes a while, I guess. Dave, you got the solution to this, I'm sure. Come on.
oh, sure. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
called winning on a consistent basis. I mean, unfortunately, I think that's what it is. You know, you saw you at the beginning of the year, the students showed up,
Yeah,
and then
that's
we
true.
then we lose these games at home, and they just don't have any stick to itiveness. There's no commitment to it. They if they're not seeing winning, they don't come to the games, and that's unfortunate. I mean, if we could get the students to every home game and really fill that student section, it would create a completely different environment for these players. And I would be, maybe that Bonaventure game turns out a little bit differently. Maybe that St. Louis game turns out a little bit differently. If you've got they're not just playing for the win, they're playing for the student body. And I think that's a huge factor.
I agree with you. It makes a big difference in terms of home court advantage. You hear other teams talk about it in places that are tough to play at, right? It's in every sport too. You got fans going crazy in the stands, whether it's Towers Pool or Rooney Field or wherever. I'd love to see it. But I think to your point, Dave, like it's the opening home game of the year. The place is full in terms of student section. Then like game two, it dwindles off, and then if they're not 2-0, it's like, well, okay, we'll stay in our dorms now and we'll watch
Yeah,
Netflix. Rudy,
yeah.
you trying to get my attention, Rudy, over something?
No, 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 no. Nick, what do you have to say, dude?
yeah. The most well-attended Duquesne sporting event that I've seen from a student perspective was the live stream of the March Madness game. And it's just
Yep.
crazy to me that they all showed up to watch it on a TV screen as opposed to going to watch them play in person. Even I don't know. I just expected them to show up more at the season following the NCAA
Yeah,
tournament run, and it didn't really carry over. And I don't have an answer for that. I guess they need the like national television buzz to actually get excited. So I know that way back in the day, they tried to make it a point in freshman orientation to care about the athletics programs, and it works at the start of the year, like Dave said, and then it slowly dwindles out if they don't see that success or that buzz. Um, and it stinks because there's a lot of special moments at these Duquesne events when the fans get into it. I remember a lot of defensive plays, huge blocks, getting everybody going, the arena getting a loud "Let's go Dukes" chant, and it felt like today could have been one of those days, and we were just missing a quarter of the stadium essentially.
Yeah.
there's nothing better than going to a home athletics event for the university that you attend. I mean, when I was at Clarion, I was fortunate enough to be able to watch Kurt Angle wrestle, and every time Clarion had a home wrestling match, that place was packed. Our basketball team was pretty good. Our women's team made the Elite Eight when I was in college. So, those are moments that are created, but a lot of these kids, they just miss out on it. And I don't know why. Because marketing, you're right, Bob, marketing does a great job of trying to get, and I've seen Coach Drew walking around campus leading up to basketball games, trying to drum up kids to come out. And it's frustrating. And, our swim meet on Saturday against St. Bonaventure, that place was packed. And there's nothing better when our swimmers turn around, they see all those people there. Now they're performers, they want to perform and they want to do something special for the people that are there watching them.
I'm with you, bud. By the way, tremendous segue because I'm going to go ahead and click. I'm going to bring that up right now. So you got to honor some seniors. You guys are, I hope, hopefully rounding into form for conference championships. We just celebrated 2 conference championship teams that are now in the Hall of Fame, including individuals who made it from those teams as individuals. Can you summarize senior day and what your guys are, how you're, I guess, tapering off? Maybe is that the right word? And what guys are doing to get ready or ladies doing for the championship coming up?
Yeah, I mean, the senior day was fantastic. I mean, number one, we recognized both our teams and Emma and Abby. And the families all came back, so it was fantastic. And the seniors that we have that are leaving have been huge contributors to our program. So we're starting to kind of sharpen things up a little bit. We'll start resting. Some kids will start resting Wednesday. Some will start next week. It just kind of depends on what events you're swimming and who you are. But we looked pretty solid against St. Bonaventure for as tired as they were telling me they felt. And it was always nice. It's always nice to beat St. Bonaventure. It's always nice to beat St. Bonaventure, and to have their coach walk out of there questioning what they're doing. That if they can walk into the conference meet second guessing themselves, that's always a bonus for us. But we for the conference championships, we're going to need a little bit of help. I mean, we're going to have to swim and dive really, really well. And some things are going to have to happen to GW in Richmond where maybe they're not going to swim as well. And if that happens, we've got a good shot of competing for a championship. And that's what we've been talking about all year. And to win another one would be fantastic. But if it doesn't happen, I told the ladies, listen, if it doesn't happen, but we go there and we perform, then that's all I can ask for.
You guys have been in the top 4 for a while now or something, right? What was the stat I heard on Friday night? There was, because when you first got here, the program was at the bottom of the standings, and then it was a long road to get them back-to-back champs, which is in and of itself reason while you'll be in the Hall of Fame as a coach one day too, again, as an individual. But there's a really good run where you mentioned top 4 or 5 or something over a long period, right?
Yeah. For the last 11 years, we've been 4 or better.
Amazing.
So it's been a fantastic run for us. Very just consistent, you can contribute that. I mean, I've been here for 25 years. So, just getting some consistency with coaching and such. So, we've got great support from our administration too. And that's, I mentioned Rick Christensen in my speech, and he has just been fantastic. I mean, Rick and I have been together for 20 years, and he was with me when we were at the bottom. And when I say the bottom, I mean the bottom. I talked about my Andy Dufresne moment, and we crawled through it. I mean, it was bad.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've been an Olympic sports athlete. I've been to these conference championship events where it all kind of comes down to like one weekend. And to finish top four that many years in a row is really impressive, coach, because so many things can happen over that weekend. And, it's like it just be that consistent is remarkable. I know in track and field, one year we were leading after day one and we were overjoyed. We ended up finishing fourth, and that was great for our men's program to do that. So to be that consistent for that long, that's good for you. I want to bring this up, by the way, just to grab the championships page from the Atlantic 10 website. So this is going to be from February 19th through the 22nd at the Hampton, Virginia Aquaplex, swimming and diving. So if you're new to this, those sports compete together under one championship, both conference wise and then NCAA wise. And actually, the diving portion of the competition is used to hurt Duquesne, which still doesn't have the ability to dive, right? Our pool's not deep enough. So only very recently, within the past 10 years, Duquesne has gotten a diving coach and has been able to get diving practice and go to facilities to compete in diving. And that's really obviously helped your chances in leveling the playing field to have a chance to win, because you just were basically forfeiting points away.
Yeah.
So this is I think, and the divers go where next, by the way? They're going to go.
They'll be in Clarion on the 7th of February.
There's a nice homecoming for you.
Yeah. I mean, and Clarion has a rich tradition in diving. I mean, they've got over 90 national champions for diving. So and Alexa, obviously our diving coach, was a national champion at Clarion. So we're very fortunate to have her, and she has done a fantastic job with the program.
It was cool to see her go get a national championship ring recently at Clarion. Yeah. And also it was cool to see you and your wife were named, top 100 PSAC athletes all time. That was pretty cool because you both competed there, right, at Clarion, or she at Penn State School? She was there too.
Yeah, we both were Clarion. Yeah, top 75, by the way.
Excuse me. Yeah. February 19th through the 22nd then is when the ladies are going to compete. Obviously, Duquesne just has the varsity women's program. 19th through the 22nd. So you can follow along. There's live results, links, and everything here. So if you go to Atlantic10.com and you basically go to championships, then winter championships, click swimming and diving, and you can see where I'm picking this up. Coach, it's awesome. I want to give you a chance to maybe once again talk about the Hall of Fame stuff. Anything we haven't mentioned yet? Any great memories from the weekend that the public didn't see and what that was like? And also, if you want to pitch, maybe preview like the next potential honoree that you think would be a good candidate coming down the line from that program.
Sure. The one story that I didn't tell, because obviously I was on a time crunch, was the story about Emma Brenton when we went to U.S. Nationals at Georgia Tech. That's where I had mentioned that was her last chance to try to make Olympic trials. And I kind of gave a little bit of tidbits of what had happened. But so the morning of prelims of the 200 IM, the night before, we had 3 swimmers there. So the night before at the hotel, I had said, listen, I'm going to go to the grocery store and pick up some stuff for you guys. So I left the parking lot. And the parking lot at the Marriott where we were staying was about a block away. And so I left, got some groceries for them, came back, parked the car. Next morning, because Emma always liked to do a wake-up swim or earlier, I walked down to pick up the car, and there was a boot on the rental car. And we're probably 4 miles away from the facility. So I ran back up to the hotel and called an Uber. And Emma comes out and she says to me, why are we taking an Uber over to the pool? I'm like, well, I just thought it would be a little more efficient. So we get over there. She gets in and warms up, and we come back. We eat breakfast. I go shower, come back down, and we get back in the Uber. And we go back over with the Uber. I said, this was easy. There's traffic this morning. We'll take the Uber again. Well, on the way over, I reach in my pocket to try to find my coach's pass, because you can't get on the pool deck at these meets without your coach's pass. And I don't have my coach's pass. So I called my buddy, Ian Walsh, who coaches at Marshall, one of my former swimmers. And I said, Ian, have you left the pool yet? I need to borrow your pass. He's like, Dave, I'm gone already. So we got to the pool. I said to Emma, I said, hey, listen, you go in and warm up. I got to go talk to a couple people. So I ran up to the credentials area, and I had to turn in my driver's license to be able to get a substitute credential. And they gave me the substitute. I come back down. This is like 35, 45 minutes later. And Emma comes out and she's like, where have you been? I want to do pace. I want to warm up. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I got caught up talking to someone. So, and she ended up making the cut. And that became a great story for the whole meet. And then we went back and, we were so excited that she made the Olympic trial cut. We go back and I was tired. So I took a nap and her mom's like, well, did she make finals? I'm like, no, she didn't make it back to finals. So I lay down, take a nap. About 35 minutes, 40 minutes before the meet's finals start, I get a call from her mom. Hey, have you looked at the heat sheet? I'm like, no, why would I look at the heat sheet? Well, Emma made it back in the finals.
Oh,
because some people scratched out. And I'm like, oh my God. So Emma and I had to get back up, run back over to the pool, and she didn't swim that great. But that was a great story for Olympic trials. And it turned out to be a great memory for both of us and her parents. And but to kind of lead into the Hall of Fame, for me, I would have to say the next person that I would really think deserves the honor of going in is Hannah Everhart. I mean, she won the 200 free, I think, 3 times at the conference championship. I think she's got 11 medals as well. So, for her to be, I think that, she would definitely be the next logical choice from at least the swimming and diving standpoint.
I don't know if Ian Walsh, he's the head coach at Marshall now, right?
Yep, that's correct.
I don't know if he is in from the men's program or not.
We've got some men. The next male that I think should be inducted is Eddie LeBlanc. I mean, Eddie was a phenomenal swimmer. He was probably the best male swimmer that we've ever had. And if they had not dropped the men's team in 2010, Eddie probably would have qualified for NCAAs in 2011. And that's, that was the disappointment part of that. But no, we're excited about the conference meet. They've changed the format to qualify for NCAAs now. So it's one qualifying time. There used to be an A standard and a B standard. So now there's just one standard. If you make the standard at your conference meet and you win, you get an automatic bid and you're in. So that's exciting. We've got the potential of 3 kids that may have the potential to make the NCAA meet. So, we're excited about that. And I know that they're excited. So, for us, we just want to go there and perform at a high level, and we'll see what happens on Saturday night.
Well, good for you guys. That's cool. That's a couple good names there. Eddie LeBlanc name's good. I think he was student athlete of the year 1 year too. Good candidates there. And good luck, coach. I mean, we're all pulling for you, obviously. You're a big friend of the show. Thank you for the t-shirts. I do wear mine sometimes at the YMCA, and people go, "You don't look like a swimmer." I said, I don't swim like one either, but I do like to swim. So my experience was you guys had a full weekend with senior day, obviously after the Friday night thing, and then because you competed, and then Sunday today at basketball was cool. My boys and I did from the football team had a really, really cool experience Saturday where the Penguins kind of rolled out the red carpet for us and gave us, a lot of exposure at the arena. So I'm actually going to share a video with you guys. This was the coolest thing. 10 of my teammates and coaches from the group that went in the Hall of Fame got to be part of the community spotlight they do before the game at PPG Paints. The Penguins ended up winning 6-5 over the Rangers on Saturday afternoon. So we made it a day, and so we had something to do between Friday and Sunday. Saturday, perfect thing. Let's go to the Penguins game. And I put together a group. We bought a bunch of tickets, and the Penguins said, "You know what? Let's give you a bunch of other cool perks." So here's one of the things they did for us before the game. Let's see if I can play this for you guys.
Duquesne University football team, consensus NCAA mid-major national champions. Last night, the 2003 Dukes entered into Duquesne Athletics Hall of Fame. As part of the FCS record 39-game conference winning streak, the 03 Dukes won their 5th straight Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference and capped the season by winning a postseason bowl game and earning the #1 spot in all 3 final national bowls. Congratulations to the 2003 Dukes, the latest members of the Duquesne University Athletics Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and you'll see me trying to stick my head in there in the back with the white jersey on. I'm wearing a Darius Kasparaitis jersey, which I got a lot of high fives on. But that was a cool thrill that they did that for us. This ring is sort of wedged on my finger all weekend. It's a good opportunity to wear it. And then they let us down on the ice after the game. which also was amazing. I actually have a couple cool photos of that where, um, actually, I'm going to share some of these with you guys because, well, why not while we're on the call here? Um, but they really, like I said, treated us really well. And we went down on the ice afterward, and Mario Lemieux walked right behind me. And because he was there with the 2016 Penguins who had their 10-year reunion that afternoon. And it was the owner, of course. He walked right behind me, and I don't get starstruck too often, especially with Pittsburgh sports, because I've been close to it for a while now and working with some folks. When Mario walked past me, I froze and couldn't say anything because he is, a Pittsburgh kid and from the 90s. Mario's a god. I mean, I just couldn't get the words out. But let me share some of these other. I don't have a picture of Mario. I missed it. This is the ceremony. There's Coach Gattuso. He came back most recently on the Penn State staff. So I'm assuming Greg's not actively a coach anywhere right now with the shakeup there at Penn State. I can't confirm that, but that was cool. And then just seeing some of the guys, just me on stage with some of my teammates, and we got to hang out. And Brian Colonna, you can see on the left, who's the chief revenue officer for Duquesne Athletics, was also on that team. Dave Loya, Hall of Fame quarterback, who was actually Coffee's Mount Rushmore Hall of Fame, Mount Rushmore of all time Dukes football. He loves, Dave Loya. We certainly drank a lot of Bluff 78. That was nice. And this is my old man and I picking up one of the conference championship trophies. That was a lot of fun. And just, seeing some of these guys I haven't seen, the bond, as you can see how much love there is for each other. I mean, that bond just doesn't go away. And I'm sure, Coach Sheets, you can say the same thing about seeing these ladies back together, and how they feel for each other and how much it means to them, And so, like, we got to go, actually, Coach Schmidt brought us to the weight room and got to show us around a little bit today at basketball. And this is us about to go on the court. And here's the from Saturday, we got to go on the ice afterward and get photos, That's just a screenshot from the community spotlight. It just couldn't have meant more to us. The Hall of Fame placards now, as you can see, there's the swimming and diving teams, and there's football, and they'll be there forever, right? So
yeah, that's awesome. So Bob,
stuff.
What time did the hockey game start on Saturday?
It was a 3:30 tip-off Saturday.
So if you really wanted to make a whole day of it, why weren't you at the swim meet at 12 or 1?
To be honest, Coach, no offense, we were a little hungover from Friday night, and some of us didn't make it to basketball for that reason. I went to Manny's Rook Station Cafe in Carnegie, because back when I was playing football here, every Thursday night, the linemen used to get all-you-can-eat wings and lasagna for $5. And there's no way Manny made any money off of that. And I used to do a trick where I would swallow this lasagna whole. So I did that a couple times, but a lot of Jackson Cokes, a lot of fun, man. And today my voice is, I don't have much left, but great to wear the ring again. Especially this one, which is the most important one, the class ring. And it was just, it's a blast. I'm honored to be a Duke. And this coming Friday night, I get to go into the Baldwin High School Athletics Hall of Fame as an individual. So it's been an awesome week. Really, I mean, it's like an 8-day period where everyone's getting real tired of me and and having to go out of their way to come to things. But I got folks coming up. That one will be almost, it'll be just as special because it's an individual thing, and my kids go to school in Baldwin. So
that's awesome. Congratulations. Yeah. Now, did you go with the football team down to Milano's after the ceremony on Saturday? Or Friday, because I heard a lot of them were going there.
Oh yeah,
yeah. The team, the ladies on the Hall of Fame, dragged me out to Coupe de Ville.
Awesome.
Yeah, well, I walked in there and I was like, this is not my scene right now.
Yeah. So. I like Coupe de Ville, but yeah, I mean, it was funny being there, and I told some of the guys, I was like, guys, you're not in college anymore. So, hands off, don't talk to the ladies, and, just be nice. I was like, you guys, it's only one or two guys are still single. I was like, you're not what you think you are anymore. But it was really cool. So we mostly hung out with ourselves, and but it was fun, man.
It was a great time. I loved having them come back and just kind of catching up with them and reminiscing and just, telling stories and just really seeing them reconnect was fantastic. Right. I mean, we had kids coming in from California, and it was wonderful.
Yeah, the bonds don't break, and when you're champions together, you kind of walk together forever, which is the famous Fred Shiro line, the old GM of the Flyers, whose son became GM of the Penguins in 2009 when they won. And Yeah, that's a great line. It's very, very true. And those moments where you guys clinch championships and you embrace when you see each other and you hug again, it's like it turns back time. It's the closest thing I think we have to time travel. And so it was amazing. And Coach Gattuso looks good. I talked to him. He watches the podcast. He said, Bob or Bobby, they all call me Bobby. He goes, Bobby, the 95 team was the first championship of any kind that Duquesne had won in like decades. He goes, they were the first ones that started the run of like these 17 conference championships for us. And that was before winning the conference championship for Duquesne football was not something we did all the time, right? And the program had gone from club to D3 to FCS. And when that team won it in 95, they were really the best team at that level that became a national title one day, but they didn't have it back then. So that's the next team that I would push for, since it looks like 2002 is still going to have to keep waiting. But I was glad to see both your squads make it. They're very well deserved. And I'm looking forward to next year's class. It's always fun to see who makes it. I don't, Rudy, Nick, anybody that's not in or teams that aren't in that you think maybe deserve a closer look? Rudy?
Oh God, that's a
I know
tough
you're going to
one.
mention a men's hooper, which is fine.
No, I'm not exactly sure what you're asking.
Any like Duquesne athletes or teams that aren't in the Hall of Fame that you think maybe were overlooked?
Wow. Okay. Well, we went through the Mount Rushmore a couple of weeks ago.
I can make Nick go first while you think. I bet you Nick's got one on his brain.
Make Nick go first.
Yeah.
I mean, there's I think a lot of the more modern alums like AJ Hines. I don't think he's in there yet.
Right.
And Haley Scholar for swimming is going to eventually make it, but
Right.
and we've talked about Liv Falwell, the bowler that's definitely got to get added in there.
She'll have to be in. Yeah.
Yeah, so I know of them. As far as champion teams, I know the women's soccer team got added in a few years ago.
And last year, I think they were added in last year.
Yeah.
Volleyball has made it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So a lot of the conference champions during my days have gone in. So I'm kind of surprised to hear that there's been some conference champion teams that haven't gotten added yet.
Have Jim Lear's cross country teams been added?
No, that's a great call, because that was the first Atlantic 10 title that the Dukes had won since 1977. Yeah. And I've actually talked to Coach Lear. We all called him Killer. It was a good, fun nickname we have for him. Killer says that he finds it hard to believe that they're not in, considering that, it's, yes, the 95 team won that, but it was in the MAC, and the A10 is what, we're an A10 school. And that was the first A10 title that we had won since that first ever year it existed back in 77 in the old East Coast Basketball League. So he's right on about that. The Eastern 8. He's right on about that. So maybe that's the agreement, is that team is overdue. There's some members of that team who have made the Hall of Fame: Tom Slosky, Ryan Bender. And then eventually, who's the guy we were talking about? It was on your Mount Rushmore for modern. Spizak will make it one day.
Yeah.
But having two guys individually, Bender and Slosky, are in for cross country and track, but that team should be in.
I think Spizak made it last year.
No, dude. I mean, I gotta
Spizak's in.
I think Spizak was inducted last year.
100%. You're right. Yep. Yes, he wasn't on that team. He was a little bit later, but he is in. You're right.
So yeah. Go
I'm
ahead.
putting you on the spot. You don't have to think of one. I'm putting you on. If we named it already, you can just tell us we're right.
And obviously there's a couple of the NEC bowling teams. I think that I don't know whether they've won NEC championships, but obviously they've made NCAAs and have bowled really well at NCAAs. So, Jody's teams that I'm sure eventually should be inducted.
Yeah, and then Olivia Farwell is going to be the no-brainer 4-time All-American. She'll be the first bowler to get in.
Yeah.
I wanted to, speaking of track, by the way, we should also mention a real nice event. Rose Kuchera, or Kuchera, I'm not saying Rose's name correctly. Rose Kuchera, Kuchera. She had a real outstanding accomplishment the other day. She jumped 21 4.75, so that's 21 feet 4 3/4 inches to shatter her own record in the long jump. So really nice YSU mid-major invitational. This was just a couple days ago on January 30th. There's a look at Rose. So shout out to her. And I also got to mention, although it's been a grind, I mean, we can't go a whole show without talking about women's basketball. Let me refresh my page here. So women's basketball continues to look for its first conference win. The Dukes ladies now 0-11 in the A10. No one likes to see that. I will tell you there are some opportunities coming up against Fordham, and I think I want to say Bonaventure, who are
That
toward the bottom, right, Nick, of the standings. And so there's a couple chances there to get some wins. Unfortunately, they're both on the road. One thing I want to encourage people to go to when it comes, though, as you can see, is February 11th against Loyola Chicago. That's going to be 11 a.m. If you can possibly make it down there, I'm going to
loud.
try to. That's fun. Education Day, UPMC Education Day, that place gets loud, loud, loud. And that's cool. And it's a really cool atmosphere. And we should also mention last time we had a show, we talked about Alexis Bortis being injured, but she's playing. She's back. So she's wearing a brace, but it looks like she's not really slowing down. So they survived a scare there. But Nick, I don't know if there's anything we can really say about the women's team we haven't said. They just continue to look for an identity, stop turning the ball over. They're young and experienced. I hope for their sake, there's a couple wins here conference wise to kind of salvage some things and build off of.
Yeah, I think defensively it was more disappointing against LaSalle than the offense, even though, I mean, 61 points is not screaming that the offense was clicking, but it seemed like they were scoring a little more regularly. They had a bit of an identity or an action plan of going and attacking the post early, and that opened up some easy looks outside, which was great. But then there's just, I think, 4 or 5 possessions. The start of the fourth quarter, they gave up open threes, and that buried them. But they didn't. It didn't look like the will was broken throughout the game. They were still hustling, and the energy's there, which the coaching staff has all told me is why they still believe that the team has that potential to turn it around because they are still hustling. But yeah, I mean, before every game, there's optimism, and after every game, they just go back and look at film again. Coach Burt's post game presser, he's acknowledging that he's not sleeping much, and he's looking for answers. Uh, Coach Sheets, hopefully you don't have to go through this sort of season anytime soon. But yeah, I know they had the girls in sports event before the game as well, and it was well attended. So another credit to the marketing team for really getting fans into this arena. It was a really well attended game. So the energy's there, the optimism's there. It's just getting those results.
And my fourth grade Baldwin Whitehall girls will be playing each other on senior day, February 28th too. So that'll be fun too. Hey, listen, they do a great job in involving community and involving kids. And I'm such a fan of Dan and that program. Everybody I talk to, I think knows that that Dan, it's going to get them out of it. But they lost 7 seniors, right? So, and then their top junior transferred. And it's not easy. By the way, Dave, has this open transfer thing affected other sports like it has the big sports, the profit, sports?
No, not to any extent that I'm seeing.
That's
For
tough.
swimming, yeah, for swimming, it's, if we get a transfer here and there, we consider it because of what we have academically. We can't offer them anything other than, a scholarship. So, it's usually the kids that we do get to transfer are ones that we've recruited that have gone somewhere else and then have decided to give us a second look, or we've got a major that they really want. And, if it's a master's degree or something like that. So, for us, it doesn't affect us that much. Now, the bigger programs in the Power Four, I think it's affecting a little bit more.
Yeah, I could see that. Those are putting a lot of Olympians in, and it's a big brand for their school. Maybe I can see that. I want to get some final thoughts on men's hoops, which is coming down the pike here at the end of the regular season. I think I showed the standings a bit earlier, but the Dukes are in the thick of it. They're not out of a top 4, but that was a nice win to get against Rhode Island to put themselves back in contention and stay out of the bottom 4 at least. I am encouraged. I like how they look lately. I'll go to Rudy and then Nick. Rudy, any final thoughts on anything we talked about, including men's hoops?
Well, looking at the rest of the conference schedule, I see that we got some opportunities coming up. The thing is that it just seems that we're doing the right things as far as I don't know. I'm a little confused because it seems like they're finally playing up to the level of competition that they should be at. And also, I'm encouraged about the fact that the traditional A10 basketball powers like Richmond and Dayton basically have regressed a little bit. And so we're kind of like right in the middle. I mean, we're tied with three other teams, including St. Bonaventure, I believe, with 4 wins. And so, if we could just crack the top half, if you will, okay, even though, we're kind of like in the middle. And, if we go to tournament, we're probably gonna, play St. Louis again, or one or Loyola Marymount. So not Marymount, but Chicago. But the thing is that I think that we have some opportunities here. The traditional powers aren't what they should be this year, and I think it's kind of wide open.
Rhode Island had won 3 in a row before today. I think one of those was
Right.
against Dayton. And we handled Rhode Island. And so that's the most encouraging thing for me. Nick?
Yeah, the A10 podcast, Three Bid League, talked about this, where it's basically St. Louis in a tier of its own, and then George Mason and VCU kind of in a second tier. And then outside of that, there's a huge, what they call mushy middle, from St. Joe's really all the way down to St. Bonaventure after this past week. And Loyola Chicago's in the tier of their own at the bottom. I think Duquesne could be the most talented team of that mushy middle, as they call it. And we could make some noise, but it's all about that consistency. I think we've all agreed that the talent is there on this team. It's just that consistency, that being locked in and ready to go from the jump, especially on the defensive end. If they're able to do that, it could be a nice little run. It would be nice if we don't have to play St. Louis in the A10 tournament and they somehow get knocked out before then, just because I think that's the team that is going to be the biggest tree to knock down if we do have to do it. But yeah, we're not going to have any at-large bid. So all of these games, it should just be focusing on, again, finding that rotation that's working. It seems like we may have done that, and then just getting everybody ready and playing their best basketball for whenever the conference tournament starts.
Boy, the nice thing is if you do play St. Louis, I don't think they'll be afraid of them, because they hung with them.
Right.
So if they have
Right.
to, right? Coach Sheets, any final words?
No, and you know what? I just always appreciate coming on the show. I love talking with you guys and giving time to swimming and diving, and that's I really appreciate that. So thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Go get some medals, coach, and keep that top 4 streak going and keep recruiting the way you do. It's a great program, and we're all sure proud that you're a Duke.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So, Dukes Nation, till next time, for Coach Sheets, Nick Frost, Rudy Longarini, I'm Bob Healy. Shoo shoo, rah rah. We'll see you out there. Go Duquesne.
Let's go, Dukes.
Let's go,
Go Dukes.
Dukes.
Thanks, boys.